Right, everyone, welcome back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing well. Got a different video this week. I've been thinking about it. Those who know me know my big passion outside of footy is playing FIFA. And obviously this time of year is probably the busiest time if you are a nerd like myself and you play a bit of FIFA. It's team of the season time, or team of the year time. So we've all been holding packs, we've all been grinding the game. And I thought, what does AFL lack? It lacks a good computer game for the game, doesn't it? So I thought, let's bring FIFA to our beautiful game and have a look at the cards. That's the most wonderful thing about it. People collect these virtual cards, they're hard out, and we can talk about my team of the year. And we're going to have a few specials at the end. We're going to have some hero cards, which if you're not familiar with FIFA, they are veterans, long since retired players that invoke them wonderful emotions. So let's get straight into it. First part of call though, make sure you have become a member and a sub of the channel. And if you go into that, you can go into the membership raffle for that $100 Visa gift card. The link in how to do that is in the description. We'll be doing a members only live stream where we'll be just having a bit of fun, playing a bit of FIFA, shooting the rubbish as it were. And we'll draw that out, and that is on the 4th of February. So make sure you've got plenty of time. And let's get straight into it and look at the first miscreant to our rabble, and that would be the Nick Dacos card. I was surprised he didn't make All-Australian. There's his little sexy card there, and this would be a really interesting card to use, I think. If you've ever played the game, these are the type of players, them 95s, them team ratings, the guys who are at the lower end and the entry level, maybe making their first appearance, are usually the kind of guys that are usually kind of meta or overpowered. And I'd love this card. This card would be straight into my side without a shadow of a doubt. I am surprised he didn't get the All-Australian nod, but he's made my team of the year, and I think a real solid card there as well, and it looks quite schmick, doesn't it, if you look at it? Look, so I'm a big fan of that one. A big fan of that one. The next guy we're going to look at is Sinclair from St Kilda. He was phenomenal, quick, high energy. He had a real strong year as well, didn't he? Particularly against my boys Cout, and he was like best on by probably a country mile. And there he is. Look at him. He looks all right. You know, the St Kilda badge goes really sweet with that blue as well. But he has made the team, and I'm excited about that one. I'm excited. I think he was a very good footballer, and it's going to be interesting if he backs it up in this year as well, because obviously last year was a real breakout year for him. Tom Barrass, I talk about him a lot on this channel. For me, one of the most underrated key defenders. Went in with a 95 rating here. This card would probably be that Kim Pembe card. Every rat and his dog has got him. Would be full meta. It would be the most annoying thing, and you can just tell that they'd pair this guy up with Dacos, and you'd have a nightmare trying to get through them, but also kill you on the counter. But for me, one of the most underrated players in the AFL, and I'm a huge fan of Tom Barrass. No surprise who we went with this one. Sam Docherty would be in that as well. Definitely in the team of the year. He had a sensational 2022, and long may it continue. Gave up the captaincy, left Cripper to do it full time, and he came back with a bang, didn't he? After all the trauma off field with his health, came back with a bang, and a worthy recipient in this. The next one is Blitzars, and for me, again, another player that I think he's one of them players that when you look at the opposition's team sheet, you kind of can really easily forget about how damaging this guy is. We've got him here listed as a defender, but as you know, he plays everywhere. Ruck, forward, midfield. Do you know what I mean? Does a little bit of the cutting of the oranges, I've heard at half-time. The guy is just everywhere, so definitely a player that I think is well worthy of joining the Poms team of the year. 2 defenders to go, and James Sicily, another guy that didn't make All-Australian, and again, this guy is a guy that I actively look for on the team sheet. Is he playing? I think he's one of the best players in the league. I think he's a very sweet kick, very good with the ball, very hard to beat overhead, very hard to beat one-on-one. One of the premier defenders in the comp. Sicily, the AFL may forget about you, I don't, mate. And the next one is one of my favourite players to watch, Tom Stewart. Absolute jet. How this guy is a mature edge player and was forgotten about in the drafts. Coming in later, playing for Geelong. damaging, to say the least, isn't he? His intercept and his ability to find the ball, second to none. And in my opinion, one of the best players in the competition, not just one of the best defenders. Over to midfield then, and we start off with Hugh McCluggage. Absolute sensational, this guy. And he's a guy, when you look at the Brisbane midfield, you always forget about. Neil will get the raps, Zorko gets the press because, he's probably bit someone in a contest or something. But McCluggage is that guy that is super damaging and goes about his business. What I like about him is he goes about his business really, really quietly. And there's no bells and whistles about him. It's just output. And we need more players like that in the competition. And another guy who falls into the category for me is Brayshaw, who I thought was brilliant last year. Absolutely sensational and really started to come of age. And it might surprise people. There's always a surprise in the team of the season. Could be a surprise here, but I really like Brayshaw, what he did. And, I think it would be because the team of the season is quite fan-led. I think he would get one there. A bit of a token fan, but I love Brayshaw. I think he goes about his work incredibly well. His teammate here, Clayton Oliver, would definitely be in that team of the season card. And you can see this card here would be part of that Hutt gang type thing. Everyone would have him. It'd be an insane pack weight that everyone gets this team of the season card. And I love a bit of Clary. I'm obviously team Cripps, but I am a slight member of this. But this guy here, for me, one, if not the most forgotten about footballer in the AFL, Tuck Miller. Tuck Miller is sensational. Absolutely sensational. And if he played for a Victorian club, every man and his dog would talk about Tuck Miller as being one of the best midfielders in the comp. Line breaker, strong defensively, crafty from stoppage, got a real change of pace and can change a game in instinct. Tuck Miller is a superstar and a well-worthy nominee in this group. Lachie Neale is the next one. Absolute phenomenal player, isn't he? And one of the best players in the competition without a shadow of a doubt. Goes about his work again. Probably another player that gets talked about a fair share, but probably doesn't get enough appreciation for what he does because of the side he's in. Neil, if he was a Victorian, he would be, they'd have a statue outside the G. And we finished the midfield with my boy and probably the captain of this team, Paddy Cripps. What more can be said about this guy? Supreme footballer. Carried my Blues for a good portion of his career and now enjoying the fruits of recruitment that he's got players around him. But Paddy Cripps, that'd be a card that I would be selling everything to try and get. We go over to the forward line and we start off with a guy that I'm not a big fan of because he annoys me, but I can't escape his talent. Shai Bolton, one of the best players in the league, and he had a wonderful season last year. Real coming of age, didn't he? He did some things that, made me punch my computer screen a few times, I'm going to be honest, but I'll tell you what, there's no getting away from this guy's prowess. And he really, in the absence of probably the form of Dustin Martin, he really stood out. And I think he's definitely would make my team of the season card. And he'd be a fun card to use. Another card that I reckon everyone would have, and I've got a bit of Ben Yedder about this guy, Papley. You just know that this guy, if the game existed, EA would make this guy ridiculous. In a world that you probably couldn't stop him, and they'd probably make a patch 6 months after and nerf the crap out of him. But Tom Papley gets in. There's no escaping his talent. And this would be a guy that, knowing EA like I do and playing a lot of FIFA, they would make a card that you'd be really excited about using. Stengel would be that card for me. And he'd be absolutely shite in game. You just know he would be. But Stengel, phenomenal years. Probably him and Doc had the story of 2022 for me. 2 stories of resilience. One through illness, one through bad choices, but coming of age and really putting it alight. And that's the wonderful thing about football and life in general. People deserve second chances, and when people take second chances, there's something wonderful about it. So Stengers, he makes it. My boy, and you know that the 2 cards I'd have, we've talked about, the number 1 would be Charlie Curnow. I would be excited about this. Do ignore the Paris flag for some reason. the template to switch over. He obviously plays for Carlton, but if he was a footballer, he would play for Paris. But Charlie Curnow, definitely a worthy guy in here and would be the first player selected for me. Isaac Heaney, another one. He was sensational last year, and again, another guy that probably doesn't get the kudos and the chat that he probably deserves. But I love watching Heaney play, and he's one of the most damaging players, and he's one of them guys that you just don't know where he's going to play, midfield or forward, but he can hurt you. And then we've got the Geelong contingent, Jeremy Cameron. Jeremy Cameron would be the Mbappe, wouldn't he, of this competition. He'd be the guy that if you do pack his gold card, you're kicking ass well into March. And Jeremy Cameron would be definitely there. And his mate, Tommy Hawkins, would be there as well. And this would probably, I reckon this would be like a Lewandowski card. Good in real life, garbage in game. But Tom Hawkins, it's hard to get him. The Rooks, Jared Witts should have been in the All-Australian, was easily the best Rook last year. Don't know what happened in the picking, but Jared Witts would definitely get a card, and this would be a real fun card to use. I'd like this because I try to avoid the meta if I can when I play FIFA and bring my own appeal to the game and avoid the cards. So Jared Witts would definitely be the one. And then Maxi Gorm has to be in, doesn't he? Is probably the best Ruckman on the whole, taken out last year, so he's got to be in there. So Maxi Gorm. So that completes the team of the year. One noticeable exception is Brayshaw from Fremantle. He would definitely be that one that they forget about and then they bring him in. So I've tried to replicate that from FIFA, let you all get angry, you tweet FIFA and then bang, it comes out. That's what they'd do. If EA AFL had a game, that would be what they'd do. So Brayshaw would definitely be that 23rd man. We call it the 12th in FIFA, but it'd be the 23rd man, and everyone would kick off and go, "Where's Brayshaw? What's going on?" And then they'd make that card. So he would be in over his brother if I was doing it fairly. But I tried to replicate how FIFA is. So then we go to the hero cards. So I've gone with some niche ones. So we'll start with Spider Everett. You remember him, the former Sydney St Kilda ruckman. Spider Everett is my wife's favourite player as well of all time. So he'd definitely get a hero card, and they'd always do an obscure one that's probably got a bit of a cult following. Crouchy's been done this year. So it's usually a cult following. You've got Jorge Campos as well. Guys that have got a cult following that you don't really know why. But Spider Everett, very solid footballer. And he'd be a real fun card to use. Do you know what I mean? Real fun card to use. So Spider Everett joins my heroes announcements. The next guy, Eddie Betts. Can you imagine an Eddie Betts card? Everyone would like this. Me as a Carlton fan would definitely have him somewhere in the team, and he'd be a tricky little customer. He'd definitely be like the Di Natale card that is a lot more powerful than his stats suggest. Dustin Fletcher, we went him. I think Fletch, iconic. Can you imagine that as well, having a 200 centimetre plus backman? Do you know what I mean? Decent kick as well. Decent stats there. You'd like that one. That would be one of them cards, like the Lucio card that you get. Benny Cousins, always have a brand name. I reckon Ben Cousins would be a great story for EA, especially with the turnaround in his life, and he'd be a great little fun card to use. And we finish off with birthday boy today, the big 5-0, Anthony Koudafidis. Look at that card. What a tasty card. That's a Yaya Toure in 23 FIFA. And that is what we do. But we've had a bit of fun with this. Let me know. Who would your 5 heroes be? Let me know in the comments. 5 guys you'd bring back if there was a computer game that you'd love to play with. Let me know in the comments. It was a bit of fun. I'd love to do a bit more FIFA, AFL crossovers. So let me know in the chat if you enjoy it. Stay safe. See you Friday. Pom out.